The NBA has suspended Joel Embiid 3 games for his altercation with Marcus Hayes the other night after their loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. We now have a set date on when Joel Embiid will actually play a game. So we're going to get into that. Here's the intro. What's going on, Cliffhangers? We are back with another video of Off the Cliff Show brought to you by 14th Market Podcast Network. We are still on the road to 1,000 subscribers before the end of December. So make sure you hit that like button, you hit that follow button. You hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the share button, send the link to all your friends, all your Sixers fans. Make sure y'all do that. Also hit that bell notification down below so you can be a part of the Noti Gang and you never miss a video. Get me to 100 likes on this video, but we're going to get right into it. All right, man, so we're going to get right into it. Breaking news from Sean Shireen yesterday. The NBA has suspended Philadelphia 76ers Joel Embiid for 3 games for altercation shoving a columnist in a post-game locker room. The NBA also put out a statement. Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games without pay for shoving a member of the media. It was announced today by Joe Dumars, Executive Vice President, Head of Basketball Operations. Embiid's actions took place in the Sixers locker room after the team's 124-107 loss to the Memphis Grizzlies on Saturday at Wells Fargo Center. Mutual respect is paramount to the relationship between players and media in the NBA. Dumars said, while we understand Joel was offended by the personal nature of the original version of the reporter's column, interactions must remain professional on both sides and can never turn physical. Embiid's suspension will commence with the next NBA regular season game for which he is eligible and able to play. So there it is. Joel is suspended for 3 games. Marcus Hayes, we do not know if he has had any type of suspension or any type of disciplinary action towards him. I don't think he has. The Philadelphia Inquirer has even come out and acted like this is what happened in the locker room is not what actually happened, even though the people that were there all said that that's what happened. So whatever, man, at this point. I get where the NBA is coming from. Like, they have to set a boundary and they had to do something to Joel Embiid. Like, it's a weird situation. This has never happened before with a player and a media member getting into a physical altercation. So they had to do something. I don't know if they can do something about Marcus Hayes. I don't know if like the Philadelphia Inquirer would be the ones to have to handle that. But I get where the NBA is coming from. They're a brand. They had to protect it. They cannot allow physical violence in their walls, essentially, right? So, like, I get where they're coming from. It's a unique situation. We all pretty much knew Joel was going to get suspended. Also, many players were defending him over, like, the course of this week. Saying, like, even Lou Will, like I said in my last video, even saying, like, he doesn't condone violence, but, like, sometimes people need some straightening because people are getting too comfortable with saying whatever they want out of their mouth without any repercussions. So, my fear is that with the Joel Embiid suspension and Marcus Hayes not receiving any type of disciplinary action, what type of precedent does this now set moving forward for media members and reporters? I feel like they now are going to have the courage and essentially a shield to say whatever they want and continue to attack players' personal lives in order to attack them as players. And that's something that just simply cannot be. That can't be a thing, right? If you don't draw the line there's no more line. Like, if that's as far as they can go and they feel comfortable crossing that line, there is no more line. They're going to continue to get worse and worse and continue saying worse things and looking into players' personal life. This is stuff that you're supposed to leave to Twitter, right? And Joe Dumars talked about it in the statement. Like, it has to be professionalism on both sides. But in no profession can you talk about a coworker or another person's deceased brother, son, or family member and expect to continue to stay professional. Like, that should not be allowed. And like I said, there's no line drawn, then it's whatever. Like, reporters are going to have free reign to feel like they can say whatever they want. And that's my fear, because you don't want this. Imagine if Joel didn't just shove him, right? Joel is 7'2", 200 plus pounds, 300 plus pounds, right? Marcus Hayes is what, like 5 something? Like, imagine if Joel like hit him or anything, like got knocked out, or like just really got into like a actual altercation, like they actually fought. Like, this is because this could have, like, that could have happened. So it just needs to be stopped. It needs to be prevented right now. Something has to happen to Marcus Hayes, like as far as disciplinary action, because you don't want to set the precedent of, yeah, reporters, you guys can say whatever you want. Don't worry, we're going to vilify the player. We're going to discipline the player. You just don't want that as a league. And I'm pretty sure this happens across all sports, not just the NBA, across all cities, not just the Philadelphia 76ers. Like we all know, Philadelphia has some of the worst media members and reporters. But I think what you can do now, what the Sixers can definitely do, is you ban Marcus Hayes from the locker room. He should never be allowed back in there. Like I said before, the locker room is a personal space and a safe space for the players. You don't want someone coming in there with the agenda and the motive of, I'm going to do whatever I can to be able to attack this player as the player, right? And they can say back to themselves, I'll just continue to look into their personal life and use that as a weapon towards the player and try to bring that into the player's life. There's no distinction, right? You don't want that type of person in the locker room because now Joel Embiid, for example, right? Your franchise star. What if Marcus Hayes comes back into that locker room and Joel Embiid still has some animosity built up towards him? Like you can't prevent what then happens next, right? And what if Marcus Hayes writes another article about Joel Embiid's family or deceased brother? What if he does that again, right? And he comes back into the locker room and this gets worse, because at some point you just can't stop human nature and Joel being upset. And he's going to end up like it's actually attacking Marcus Hayes, and that's something that you don't want. So bare minimum, what the Sixers can do, ban Marcus Hayes from the locker room, maybe ban him from the stadium, because if Marcus Hayes is writing that type of stuff for his publication, he never ever sees Joel Embiid. So what happens, it's what happens every day on Twitter. But if you continue to allow him into the locker room, into Joel Embiid's space where Joel Embiid can see him, and what if he does this to other players? Then what do you do next? We see the same thing going on with like types of like Howard Eskin, and I'm pretty sure, like I said, this happens across all sports, across all cities. Like how you need to stop this now, you need to prevent it now. You don't want to set that precedent of, hey, reporters, you guys can say whatever you want. Don't worry, you won't be disciplined. We're going to just discipline the players. But that's just how I feel about it, man. Getting off that topic, we now know when Joel Embiid will be back. He will be back versus the New York Knicks, November 12th. For the NBA's first Cup game. I'm excited for him to come back. I do not like that he's coming back versus the New York Knicks, one of the best teams in the NBA, but it's whatever. And I also think that the Sixers did some big brain stuff and just leaking that he will be available for the Clippers game in order to try to get the NBA to expedite their investigation and hand down the suspension sooner. Because, to be honest, he was never playing that West Coast trip. He usually never does when he's injured. So they were just like, all right, let's just get ahead of it. Let's just announce that he might be available for the Clippers game, and then we can get the NBA to expedite the investigation. Let's see what type of suspension they're going to give us so we can actually have a date that we can now tell the fans when he will actually be back. So smart in the Sixers for doing that and giving us some clarity on when he will possibly be back. So that's cool. Again, don't like that he's playing against one of the better teams in the New York Knicks, but I just want to see the trio of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George finally on the court together. I saw a lot of good things from that Suns game, which the Suns are one of the best teams in the NBA. The Sixers should have won that game with just Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. I can't wait to see what it looks like when you add Joel Embiid, and he's supposedly fully healthy with that knee is now at 100%. I just want to make sure they're the contenders we all prop them up to be in the offseason, so I'm excited for that. But again, moral of the video, I don't like the precedent that this now sets for future reporters and media members. I hope the NBA and teams are now protecting their players, and hopefully something will get done. Hopefully Marcus Hayes will get banned from the locker room. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm out. Make sure I hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button.